To our next speaker, in addition to being the exclusive sponsor of this event, thank you so much, Pjero Mardesic is a seasoned executive leader, cognitive behavioural expert and personal development coach. With a background spanning more than 2 decades in leadership roles across multiple industries, he works with people of influence to help them break free of their behavioural patterns so they can experience even more abundance and live an exceptional life. Pjero is an author and a poet. Through his best-selling book called Captured Emotions, Poems from an Open Heart, he gave a voice to the part of himself that indulged in fantasy and love at the level of addiction that lasted for 20 years. Please welcome back to the State Library of New South Wales, Pjero Mardesic.
Wow. Look at you all. It's an honour to be in front of such talented individuals. And to follow this, and Kelly. I had tears in my eyes. Let's just address the elephant in the room. I'm the only male speaker today, and I'm talking about emotions. Take a photo, because there's not many men out there that would do that. My 3 main intentions today. Number 1, be infectious. Share my energy so that when you leave, you take it with you. Number 2, be thought-provoking. Be meaningful in my descriptions through my experiences that you will take and make it all about you, but then feel me through yourself. And the third one, entertain you. I'm an entertainer, as you can tell. Your story is beautiful. And to be in front of a doctor who I'm passionate about behaviour is really special. Thank you. See, my journey really began at the age of 10. When I heard some funny sounds on the TV, and I was just a little boy, so I got out of bed, and I'm tiptoeing past my father, and he looked at me. Don't worry about these movies, son. These are just naughty adult movies. But in that moment, my little mind made it mean that naughty people can hang out together. So from that moment on, I made a decision to get my dad's attention, to do the best that I could at anything I put my hands on. He was the soccer coach. He was the cricket coach. So I just had to be great at everything. And not only just great, I had to be exceptional. I made everything about me. The ego came out. New pair of shoes, at least every couple of months. But in the background, a defensive coping mechanism that lasted over 2 decades. Fast forward, my child was going to be born. And in that moment, I realized I had to make another decision to stop doing that stuff over there that was keeping me alive. And for those of you, it was an unhealthy coping mechanism called an addiction. And through my own study and research and my knowledge, an addiction to me is an uncontrollable obsession to either give or get attention from something or from someone. Period. So when I look around this room, We've all got addictions. In our own way. Self-sabotage may be an addiction. Imposter syndrome may be addiction. Wanting to carry on and do the best is an addiction. Wanting to write and help people be the best writers is an addiction of some form. But how can we use that the right way? So you may be asking yourself, how could I use that the right way? See, what I started to learn, addiction to growth, unearth, conquer, champion. Conquer the uncomfortable, perfect example, and unleash your potential. Well, the first thing I had to do was I had to unearth the lies that I'd been telling myself. Let that one hit you for a moment. Slowing down doesn't mean to go slow. Slowing down means to be accurate. We've all heard it before. Slow down to go fast. And I've been in a few race cars, I've driven a few. And when you really understand the terminology, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. That steering wheel and you and the seat and the seat belt and the wheels and the engine and the gear stick becomes you. And a few of us may have run around at sixth gear, flat out for too long. And what I started to learn was that burnout is a delusion, especially when you know how to look after yourself. Do you know how to look after yourself? Do you really? But do you slow down enough to look after you? So why poetry? Why captured emotions from a man? Probably thinking, what does he know? Poems from an open heart. What man out there can be open? A lot of us. A lot of us. So why poetry? You know, the X-rated movies and the visualizations and the fantasies that I created from watching them over and over and over again became a desire. I started to write my own. 50 Shades of Grey's got nothing on me. I'll tell you some stories if you want to sit up the back. But then I started to realise I had something. And I was actually talking to Jane about another book that we're still talking about, and that's on leadership. Still halfway there. But then I turned to her and I said, Jane, I've got like 240 poems that I just shut my eyes and write. And she goes, what? And I said, maybe we could publish a few. And here we are. So I ask you to slow down. To hold your partner's hand or a friend one day and let your fingertips do the talking. Hold each other's hand. Next time you smell that flower, be present with the flower. Listen. As a cognitive behavioural therapist, two of the tools, one of them is a lemon. If you're ever having an intense moment of anxiety, chop up a quarter of a lemon, shove it in your mouth and bite it really hard. The parasympathetic nervous system wakes up real quick and it brings you very conscious, very fast. Try that. The second one is the 5-4-3-2-1 rule. And here's a free tip for anyone that's been to a therapist or a psychologist before for their own thoughts that cancer might say in your head. And that is this. Take a moment when you're stuck in your anxious shit and just look for 5 things that are really far away that are colourful. And then listen for 4 things that you can hear far away. And then try and smell 3 things in your vicinity. Touch 2 things and name them out loud. And then take a moment and swallow. What can you taste in your mouth? That'll bring you conscious straight away. See, emotions and thoughts are not actually real. We make them real. We make them real based on previous past experiences and definitions that we've been told or we find through Dr. Google. And then we give them a fictitious reality. And that alone is challenging enough. But when you hear stories like these two, and there's more to come during the day, we'll make those emotions real. So capture them. Write them. There's a big difference between being present and being in the moment. Being present means I'm here, I can feel it consciously right now. Being in the moment is actually being in flow. Has anyone felt being in flow? Like when you're writing a book and you just can't stop and I've got to keep going. And someone comes in and they wake you up. Hey! You go from in the moment to present. See, presence is conscious. In the flow or in the zone is actually subconscious and unconsciousness. You're not concentrating about anything. Someone couldn't light a fire under your ass. You've probably lit in your own. So why a man writing a book about emotions? Because before that baby was born, I had to wake up to reality. That if I didn't stop, I would have ruined it. So June 2017, I wake up to my alarm. I'm a personal trainer. My gym is at the back of our property that my father built with his own hands. I turned it into a gym. I walk down, the warmth on my face, the early morning birds. I walk in, that rubber gym smell. Someone knows. And I walk past the cold metal because mine was a man gym with metal weights. And I open the roller door as that sun beats down. Ding, ding. A message. Good timing, thank you. I thought it was my client. It was my wife. We need to talk later. I saw the messages in your phone. That afternoon, the family SUV packed to the rafters drove away with the children in it. I walked back inside. Empty house. Mantelpiece where Lego would have been sprawled across empty. Fast forward 3 years. Congratulations, Pjero. Come and receive your award. Diploma in hand, willing to change the world. I ring my mum and I say, hey mum, I did it. She goes, that won't get your family back. So this became my release. the pain, the love, the fantasies, the joy, the moments that I paused and captured and felt just like this one. 2020, COVID. Everybody knew that feeling. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't do anything. 3 trips to the hospital. My father went from aged care to hospital, from aged care to hospital. Then we got the phone call. We need to talk to you about what we do next. Okay? Will we come in? It's only so many times that a patient with sepsis can go from the aged care facility to the hospital to basically be kept alive. So we said our goodbyes. I walk out of that room. Son. Yes, Dad. I love you, son. Love you too, Dad. That was a captured emotion. To feel his words, to hear his words, to now enjoy his words. What emotions do you have to capture?